Hello everyone and welcome. I am Discharge15 on Twitch, and you also may have recognized me on Dinero05 on YouTube. And welcome to my video about Questmaster. For those of you who are tuning in, if you want to make your own dungeon, you have come to the right place. We'll teach you the basics of how to create your very own dungeon with few mechanics that was implemented in this game. So basically, it's a Zelda-like roguelike games. It's available on Steam for like $19.99, which is currently on early access. But over the course of the weeks and months, the game will be getting their updates. So feel free to check it out. There's also a demo available to try out. So anyways, we're here to talk about how to build a dungeon using mechanics in the game. So there's a little bit of resources at the moment because during the coming weeks and months they'll be getting an update. So we're expecting to leave early access later this year, before the end of 2024. So, without further ado, let's get started. So guys, if you're starting out for the first time, you may want to grab a sword, do a little bit more training before coming here to build your first dungeon. So, let's just say we already got the sword. We can just go ahead and get started on making a dungeon. So, we're gonna go here to this table. This is where you make your magic works. So I got several dungeons laid out on me already, but we're not gonna try out my dungeon. We're here to teach you about how to build one with few mechanics to make it like a Zelda style. So if we go here at the plus sign, you'll make a new dungeon. So let's click here. So now you'll be greeted with the map editor, or dungeon editor as we speak. Got some options here at the bottom of the screen. My most recommendation is leave the room outlines enabled and grid enabled. It'll help you lay out your tiles and separate the dungeons from one another. So we're gonna get rid of this because we don't need it at the moment. So right now, guys, let's go step by step. So we go here with the book. You'll be greeted with some tiles like terrain here and some doors here. Doors will help you separate one room to a different room. So let's say we put an open door right here. Just go ahead and it'll make a new one here, of course. So that way it'll help you navigate to a different room, like in any Zelda style game, like mostly like Link to the Past or the Minish Cap or whichever game that has that. So, aside from the tiles, we also have some items here to help you put in a dungeon, like the chests, items also. So, like I said, it's very limited at the moment, but they'll be updating more items at the upcoming weeks and months. Okay, so we got some nasty looking enemies here. We got some traps, the interactable ones. We'll be teaching you about these switches and also how to make them function. And of course, we got some gizmos to make it more interesting. So let's make this bigger. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna remove the door here to make this quicker. We can actually use this and do that. Much easier. So forget about the entrance. So now we're gonna teach you about the proper use of switches and gizmos. So this pressure plate here, it won't stay down when you step on it. Oh, excuse me. I need to put down the entrance. I may have deleted the entrance. So as we play test, you can actually see if you're testing out your own dungeon. So if you press on the pressure plate, it'll go down, but it won't stay down. Because you gotta put some weight on it. Just like in Link to the Past, you have to put down a statue on the switch and keep it down to make the door open. Allow me to give you an example. We're gonna use a door. We're gonna use this one, and this time we're gonna make it close. So notice you have an option. You actually, the type of door you want to have. You can actually put a key for the door because it requires a key, or you can simply have that door locked. So we're gonna program the door because if you don't have the door programmed, it won't do anything. We're expecting the door to open. So how do we do that? We go here where the pressure plate is. So these are the shapes. The shapes will have different effects. Like the shape will turn on, and in order to have the door open, we have to make sure that door corresponds to the same shape. For example, we're gonna give this a square. And now we're gonna go to the door here. There's a shape condition, so we want to match the shape of the switch that we placed it. So we're gonna add square here. Now let's test it out. See? The door opens when you press down the switch. So in order to have someone to keep the pressure plate down, we're gonna need a statue. So here's an example of what we can actually use. You can actually use this sort of a pushable object. Like it goes in any direction. If you make it go any direction limitedly, or just make it do one direction. Or we don't have that to make it. So we're gonna go with this one. So when you push it towards the pressure plate, it will stay down definitely. You actually move on to the next room. Simple as that. So, there's other type of pressure plate we can actually use. We actually make it stay down when you step on it. So we don't. This one's not required. So once you press down the door, it'll stay down. Simple as that. You can also use a lever to make the door open and close manually. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna make it same shape. So once you flip the switch, it'll open. You flip the switch again, it will close. Pretty simple, right? So you can also make something like the pull lever. Like the pull lever has like a time mechanism. Like if you pull it as long as you can, the door will remain open. In other words, if it goes all the way to the end, the door will close on its own. So we're gonna program this to use the shape, the same one. So once we pull the switch, it'll open. Afterwards, reach the end, it will automatically lock itself up again. So yeah, there's many things you can actually try out. This concurrent switch works differently. Like you have to activate everything in order to open the door. I'll just give you a little demonstration. I don't have that programmed yet, so if you do this, all will be lit up. So in order to do that, we can actually use a different condition, like when all concurrent switches are activated. So we do that, of course it won't work. So if we activate it all at once, it'll open. Pretty straightforward, right? Next, there's one other switch. You can also try out the floor switches. Like if you step all of them at once, it'll turn on, it'll light up green, and then the door will open. As long as you have this part condition. So we could do this. It'll open. However, if you make a mistake Like, let's say if you step on the same tile, of course the door won't open and you'll have to start over. But there's one other thing that you should remember, that you can actually cause the person to soft lock if you don't have that reset button. If the person makes a mistake, like, you're gonna need one of these to be able to reset. Let me give you a demonstration. So if I made a mistake, I'm locked out, so I can't do anything. But if you press the reset button, everything will reset. You can actually try again, and it'll work this time. So another thing, if you manage to do it right, this button here will remain active, and if you touch the reset, it will reset everything. So in order to prevent that, you go here, you add this condition. So let's try this again. And that way the reset button will deactivate, so you don't have to do it again. So perhaps making a dungeon more forgiving for the audience, so that way they don't have to reset constantly. So it's very helpful. So we will do the same thing to objects. So not only the doors are programmable, the items can be programmable as well. So let's say we have this type of pressure plate. I'm gonna add a few of these for a demonstration. So we have items. Items here, you can actually make it spawn when a player presses the button. You can try to make the item appear, like, let's first say a key by pressing the button, like in Link's Awakening. Do the same thing, like add the shape of it and then do the shape condition, but make sure they match or else it will not work. We got ourselves a key here, drop. So now, well, let's say you try to grab the key by moving away off the switch. So what happens is, let's bring this one here. Let's use a different one, because if you do use more than one the same shapes, they all have to activate in order to make it appear. So there's one mistake that you cannot do. So let's say we use this same key, for example. So we press it down here, this one stays down, this one stays active, but if you step off, the key will disappear. So you're gonna have to find out how you want to make a dungeon, like add something to press down the pressure plate and stay down. So keep that in mind. If you have more than one shape of these, they're gonna have to activate all of them in order to activate the others. So yeah, that's how it works. So anyways, same thing you guys should do with the enemies. Let's talk about enemies. Like, they work the same way as the Switch. So let's add 3 of these. We're gonna use the same shape here. This will require red square, and we're gonna copy these. So in order to fulfill the requirement of opening the door, you have to kill all the enemies, or depending how you want it to set up. So let's kill all the enemies and they will open. Same way we can actually program the door when all enemies are killed. So they may not require shapes, but however, you can also force another summon to the different types of enemies, and they work the same way. We're gonna add some slimes. If you want the slime to appear, they're gonna have to add the requirement, the shape condition that matches the enemies here, and then they will appear. So observe. Let's kill the enemies. And then the next enemies appear. And once all the enemies are killed, the door opens. So as long as you have the all enemies are killed condition, the door will open. However, there's a time you can actually make it an invert style, like force the door open automatically. Well, open on sight. And if you kill all the enemies and within that time, the door will close. Observe. Of course, the door will close. So you can actually work out with other switches as well, like some sort of a repeater. You can actually use a repeater type. We'll be using traps. So let's see, we'll be using these. This is more like an advanced use of the switches. Okay. We're gonna make it as an example. So we're gonna add this now. So we're gonna click on this trap. We're gonna turn it off, and let's make it an arrow. Actually, make that a lower 1 speed. So traps work the same way. They have some fancy gimmicks, like the traps can actually hit the switches as well. Like for example, let's say we want this to turn on, and the player cannot reach the switch. You can have it do some different behaviors, like when this turns on, the door will open. So let's see, we're gonna switch this. We're gonna add this because we're gonna need this to have a square shape as we speak. And now the next thing we're gonna add a pressure plate. Pressure plate on this one. So we're gonna have this with a different shape this time. That way it doesn't conflict with each other. Okay, we're gonna add this. So, let's see how this goes. Oh, looks like this one's broken. I probably turn off oh yeah, I turn off the projectile on this one. So sorry about that. Let's try this again. There you go. You can experiment most of this stuff in this game to your heart's content. So I hope you guys learn about this little gimmick of how to use shapes or any other conditions. And I hope you guys make a great dungeon. I'll even try out your dungeon. So I hope this helps, guys. Thanks for watching this. Don't forget, this game is available on Steam for $20 and it's on early access. You'll be getting some updates every weekly, and plus there's a roadmap for the release of big updates before getting out of early access to a 1.0. Hopefully before the end of this year. So guys, thank you guys for watching and take care. I'll see you. Well, I'll try out your dungeons. So guys, take care and I hope you have a great day. See you then.